It's been about 6 months since I did my last video blog. I've been working, school, writing, just a lot of things. A lot has transpired since then. I know I probably mentioned or briefly talked about my father's death in my last video. If I didn't, of course, that was going through my mind, and it was fresh then around the time when I did my last blog. Of course, those emotions and those feelings don't normally set in until sometimes weeks later, sometimes months later. For me, it was months later. And so that's why I'm kind of doing this blog. I know my last one was on happy thoughts, and I suppose after the blog and after those months kind of went on, I found myself in a place where even happy thoughts were not producing happiness in my life. And I thought it was something that I should share and something that I should talk about because I know a lot of people, especially people my age in their 20s, mid 20s, just finished a degree, looking for a job. I mean, there's so many different things that hit you like a domino effect, and it's hard to hold on to your happiness. I find that it's easy to have happy moments, a happy outing with your friends, with your family, as opposed to having a steady rhythm of happiness in your life. That is a little bit tricky, and that is what this part of my journey is about, discovering a road of happiness, not just a day, no matter what the circumstance may be, no matter what your mental state may be for that day, whatever you're thinking about, whatever's going on in your life, or for that day, for that moment, that minute, that hour, you still have a sense of reconciliation with between yourself and between your spirit. Your self could be going through something, but I just embrace the thought that your physical self could be going through something while your spiritual self still sits in a divine place, still sits in heaven, so to speak. Therefore, you experience some type of happiness and you're not totally depressed. Depression is something that I've battled with since the age of 13, maybe before then, and just, didn't know exactly what I should call those feelings in those moments. But it's something that I literally became, especially in my young adult life, became so comfortable with that it became a norm for me to always revert back to a place of sadness or a place of deep depression, a dark place. It almost became my comfort zone. If you don't break those patterns, they become something that you perpetuate over and over in your life and different areas of life, maybe relationship, maybe friendships, but you continue to perpetuate that. Wherever you will find that comfort zone, you will make it your norm. So, for instance, if you're in an abusive relationship and that becomes your norm, every other type of abuse in your life will automatically become your norm. You will never have the strength to step outside of that because you've created that box that says this is where I live and this is normal for me. So that brings me to the purpose of why I wanted to share this blog, because I know not many people talk about things like this outside of therapy, outside of being on a couch, with a therapist or your best friend or whomever. There's not a lot of people, especially my age, who will admit or who know how to talk about this. And it's something that we all will face, we all have faced, or we all are facing at different times of our lives. And it's just something that I wanted to personally shed a light on because I'm always very transparent about where I am in my journey. And because of those perpetuations that I just mentioned before, I saw those things happening in my life. I saw always reverting back to an old self or an old state of mind. And I knew that in order to do something about it, I had to do the exact opposite. Sometimes you have to meet an extreme with an extreme. So how I choose to meet extreme depression and extreme sadness is extreme happiness. And the thoughts, like from my last blog, I found were good. It's a great start, but they didn't have enough holding power. They couldn't keep me happy. They were just a thought, and thoughts are fleeting, and thoughts, they pass quickly. So I had to find out how to internalize my happiness. So, what do I mean by internal natural happiness? What that means to me personally is it is a happiness that is neither defined or redefined by an outside force. So essentially, what you do is you you build a reality of your own happiness, and you place it inside the paradigm that you exist in. It's independent of your best friend, it's independent of a mentor of yours, even your parents. It's independent of all outside forces. And what you do is you lock yourself into that state of happiness. However, there's a variable that you include, and that variable is you allow growth, and you allow evolution, and you allow a a modem of change in your life, because what happiness may mean to you in 2012, in 2014, it may be something completely different. So you allow that medium of change to exist in your life. A prerequisite for happiness is that it must greet you in the morning when you look in the mirror, and it must say good night to you at night when you look in the mirror. So it has to be an absolute truth. It can't be a truth that exists in the presence of someone because they like your outfit, or they like how you're speaking today, or they like what, your philosophy or your ideology today, and so they're in agreement with you. It has to be a truth that exists in and out of season, which means it exists in a room full of people, and it exists outside of a room full of people. No matter how uncomfortable it may make others, because sometimes your truth will make others uncomfortable. Sometimes a reality that you may embrace in your own life is not a reality for someone else. And I personally think that's okay. I believe in, and I always say, the bigness of God, and that your truth can be a truth while my truth is a truth as well. It doesn't mean you are dismissive of a right or wrong, or something that is logical and not logical, but it does mean that you allow a space for growth in your life, and you allow a space that says, you know what, right now, today, I'm okay with me. And if someone else has a problem with you, you don't bring that problem and put it in your box. You leave that outside, and you just focus on your mode of happiness. And that's how I'm learning to do every day. I believe in somehow holding on to childhood faiths and beliefs in things that maybe only children might find humor or resolve in. And lately, I have one of those things that I would love to share, and it is my little Bluebird friend. And that's why I entitled this blog Hello Bluebird, because I was talking about a state of depression to a state of happiness, and a constant state of happiness. And this bluebird actually really sparked this blog, and it's a bluebird that greets me every morning. And I just see it as a small sign with a huge impact on my life and my morning, my entire day, to communicate that every new day is the beginning of a new journey, I mean, they're all interconnected, of course, but it's a new day. It's a completely fresh start. I can almost imagine the bird saying, "Okay, it's another day. Let's make it the best that we can make it." And well, I think this is a good place to wrap this up and kind of bring it to a close. I am grateful that I'm able to share my process and be transparent with myself first, and then to share it with others. It is my intention just to spread light, spread love, the type of love that I first get at home. So I'm going to enjoy this day now, and I hope that you do the same.